In this brand new 2021 to 2022 NBA season wherein we have a healthy Kevin Durant and James Harden, wherein Steph Curry has already dropped 50 points multiple times, wherein Chris Paul is averaging the most dimes per game he's had over the past 5 years, and wherein Rudy Gobert is averaging a career best 15 rebounds a game, I think it's quite easy to overlook what the reigning MVP Nikola Jokic is doing to start the year. I mean, he's definitely putting up an amazing encore to his MVP season, as currently, the Joker is averaging 26 points, almost 14 rebounds, and 6 assists after Denver's first 13 regular season games. He's also leading the NBA in a lot of advanced statistical categories, which include box plus minus rating, win shares per 48 minutes, player efficiency rating, value over replacement player, and a couple of other ones. I mean, for the past couple of seasons, I think the term historic performance has already been quite a cliche in the NBA. However, there's just really no other words to describe the Joker's early season play both in terms of production and efficiency, as it is indeed historic. For starters, Jokic just became the second player in NBA history to register more than 300 points, more than 150 rebounds, and more than 75 assists after the first 12 games of the regular season. The only other guy to accomplish that was Giannis Antetoukounmpo, which he was able to do to start his second MVP campaign 2 years ago. Also, Jokic's current 35.36 PER actually ranks as the best efficiency rating all-time ever, ranking ahead of all-time greats like Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James. Well, sure, a lot of things can still happen from this point until the end of the season. However, if Jokic keeps up with this kind of pace and production, I think voters would definitely have to heavily consider the Joker's case to become just the 13th player ever to win the MVP award in back-to-back seasons. So what's good everyone, it's Rero Balls here, and before anything else, like I said, a lot can still happen in the season, and we're not here to take anything away from other early MVP favorites who are all definitely playing lights out as well. But in this video, we'll dive deeper into what Nikola Jokic has been doing on both ends of the floor, which is helping him produce even better numbers than he had during his landslide MVP run last season. But before we continue, if you guys happen to enjoy this video, please do drop a like or consider subscribing to the channel as well. It only takes a second of your time, but it definitely goes a long way and it would be much appreciated. So let's get to it. As of this video, Jokic is tied with Joel Embiid with the 5th best odds to win MVP behind guys like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Giannis, and Luka Doncic. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that these odds actually reflect these players' on-court performance in an accurate way, but for sure, voter fatigue has always been a factor in influencing people not to vote for a certain player to win the MVP award in consecutive seasons. However, the numbers don't lie. Jokic is just having one of the most compelling, most productive, and most efficient seasons ever. And barring any dramatic shift in the team standings and barring a significant drop-off in performance, I think he should be at least a top 3 MVP candidate when the season is over. And why should that be the case? Well, first, let's look at the offensive side of things. Currently, after his first 13 regular season games, Jokic has been automatic from anywhere on the floor. He's shooting almost 73% at the rim, more than 57% from floater range, 63% from the mid-range, and almost 39% from behind the arc. These are all solid shooting splits for a superstar player. But I think what makes it even more impressive is that Jokic is currently averaging a career-high 1.35 points per shot attempt, which ranks in the 86th percentile of the entire league, despite him also currently having one of the highest usage rates of 31.8, which ranks in the 97th percentile of the entire NBA. I mean, this is just a remarkable display of scoring efficiency for a high-volume #1 option like Jokic, as the only player who currently fares better than him in terms of combining volume and efficiency right now is Kevin Durant, who ranks in the 97th percentile in terms of points per shot attempt and 98th percentile in terms of usage rate, which numbers are just slightly ahead of Jokic. But aside from that, the Joker has also been one of the most efficient shot makers so far this season, despite him not taking the easiest types of shots. As per NBA advanced statistics, he's shooting 62.8% on shots which are classified as tightly contested or very tightly contested, which are shots taken when a defender is standing at least within 4 feet of the shooting player. Further, Jokic is also shooting a career-best 64.7% of all his shots taken with 7 seconds or less remaining on the shot clock, which very much indicates that the guy is having no problem in terms of bailing the Nuggets out during end of possessions when he has the ball in his hands. But again, going back to combining usage and efficiency, this season has just been ridiculous as both Jokic and Kevin Durant are just currently putting up all-time high numbers in that area. Currently, Durant's 68.2 true shooting percentage and 32.1 usage percentage are basically, give or take, only a full point ahead of Jokic's numbers in both categories. But how exactly did those become all-time high numbers? Well, it's because in the history of the NBA, only one player has had better usage rate and true shooting percentage numbers in the same season before, and that one player is Steph Curry, who posted those all-time high numbers twice when he did it in 2016 and 2021. So I mean, as you can see, Jokic is just entering a really elite scoring company with what he's doing right now. He's actually going head-to-head with arguably the best scorers of all time in Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. But I think what's even more commendable is that Jokic is doing all of these in a team context. And what do I mean by that? Well, currently, if you look at the all-time offensive box plus minus records, which is basically a numerical estimate of how many points per 100 possessions a certain player is contributing to his team's offense, you'll see that the Joker's current 9.62 rating is actually the third best all-time, only behind Steph Curry's rating during his unanimous MVP season in 2016 and that of Tracy McGrady's 03 season wherein he averaged 32 points a game. So basically, the reigning MVP is just on a roll in terms of currently setting all-time high records this season, which I think is even more impressive when you look at the context wherein he's doing all of these. I mean, sure, Will Barton is averaging career highs in scoring and Aaron Gordon is shooting 65% on all his drives, but Denver's second best player, Jamal Murray, is still recovering from a torn ACL, and Michael Porter Jr. is also out indefinitely with a lower back injury. And as a result, Jokic has just been shouldering a much bigger workload as usual, which doing so actually makes sense. I mean, the Nuggets as a team are averaging 11.7 points less per 100 possessions when Jokic is sitting on the bench, which scoring differential also happens to rank in the 91st percentile in the entire league. So basically, this indicates that Jokic is indeed his team's most valuable player and main difference maker. But as good as Jokic has been in terms of setting all-time high offensive numbers this early in the season, I think what's actually been more impressive is that he's also been anchoring the Nuggets defensively. Currently, Denver has the third best rated defense in the league, and they're also allowing opponents to score 104.3 points per 100 possessions, which ranks 7th best in the entire NBA. And Jokic has basically been very instrumental in what Denver has been accomplishing on this end of the floor so far. I mean, when you watch the Nuggets play, you'll see how Jokic uses his active hands as well as his great positioning in order to disrupt passing lanes and in order to contest a ton of shots from all over the court. As a result, he's averaging 1.3 steals per game as well as a career high 0.9 blocks per game, and the 2.1 deflections per game he's putting up currently ranks 9th best among all centers in the league. While I personally think Jokic's defensive impact has always been underrated ever since, I mean he's still not a real shot blocker or a lockdown defender, but based on the eye test, he also looks just much lighter on his feet nowadays even when he's defending quicker players on the floor. Just like here, in this Cavs pick and roll, watch how Jokic picks up Darius Garland on the switch. He's just able to slide his feet quick enough while he uses his wide body to trap the quicker player on a corner, which eventually results in a turnover. And again in this play, watch how Jokic responds to the Mavs switching scheme. He eliminates the Mavs' chance to run a pick and roll by hedging right into the ball handler, where he's able to steal the ball and dish out the go-ahead pass to Will Barton for the easy fast break finish. Further, Jokic is noticeably becoming more and more reliable as a big man defender in drop coverages, as his defensive awareness and high basketball IQ is just starting to look off the charts. Just like here, watch how he defends Miami's pick and roll. He maintains just the right amount of space to prevent Lowry from passing the ball to Adebayo, but is also quick enough to provide the help defense to prevent the cutter from making the easy shot underneath the rim. And again, in this play against the Grizzlies pick and roll, watch how he covers just the right amount of ground to stay in front of Ja Morant. He slides his feet well and he uses his size to bother the guy's shot altogether. Well, again, Jokic isn't necessarily blocking shots, but currently, opponents are shooting 61.1% when defended by him within 3 feet of the basket, which only ranks 30th best among all qualified rim protectors in the league. But still, that's the highest defensive percentage at the rim that Jokic has put up in his entire career. And that just shows that Jokic's defensive impact is currently being felt more than ever. Well, sure, we still have to wait and see if the Nuggets' great defense can hold up until the end of the season. I mean, opponents are currently shooting a whopping 70.5% at the rim against Denver. But even though the team doesn't really have an elite rim protector, they still have the third best defense in the league, and they're also ranking in the top 8 in most defensive categories, which is actually very impressive. And a lot of that has actually got to do with Jokic increasing his defensive presence while still being one of the most overwhelming offensive players in the league. Overall, Jokic is only 26, although he's already won MVP before, his best years are still definitely way ahead of him. And at this rate, wherein he's continuously improving as a player while also putting up historic numbers, I think a second MVP award definitely isn't gonna be out of reach for the Joker. So who do you guys have as your early season MVP? Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And again, if you want to see more similar kinds of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Again, this is Real Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.